perfect. Yeah, you walk that walk, watch the miles go by. You're so picture perfect.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Bravo Tea with the Stay-at-Home Mom. I'm Erika, and I'm ready to get into some Bravo Tea. And I have to apologize. I have a little bit of a cold. You know, just can't stay healthy, I suppose, with children coming home with the germs. But I'm doing okay. It's just like a little cough, a little stuffy nose. So if I sound a little annoying and different, it's because of that. And also, I know you guys can't see me, but currently my face is peeling off because I got a VI peel. So I'm shedding all my winter skin. So it's like you can't pick it off. I don't know anyone listening if they've ever done it. I do it every year. You have to do it like after winter. It's so good. You can't be in the sun though, so don't do it in the summer. So like right after the winter months, this is perfect. It's the best thing. It's just very difficult because for like a week, your skin is like shedding off and you cannot pick it. You can't pull on it because you could seriously damage your skin and leave permanent marks. But I'm telling you, it's the best thing because then I'm going to have like baby soft, beautiful skin like some of these ladies do. I feel like on Bravo. Sometimes I'm always like, I wonder if they do VI peels because their skin looks like real good. I would love to know all the actual secrets of what they do because now everyone is like doing Amazon lives. And you're like, do you like really buy that though? Do you really use that? Like, I'm the type that I want to know what you actually use on your face. I don't care how much it is. I just really want to know because I would actually go get it. I got to stand behind the products I believe in. Like, that's why Kendall Jenner got so much shit when she was doing Proactive like promos because people are like, girl, you don't use Proactive. And then she like stopped doing it because it's true. And I mean, I get it. Sometimes those people get offered so much money. Like, would you really turn it down? I probably wouldn't either. But when it's something that's like real obvious you don't use, I don't know if I could do it. I don't know. Maybe I'd be hypocritical later down the line if I got the chance to do something. But I didn't believe her for 5 seconds that she used Proactive. But it's like, tell us what you really use. Like, maybe you can do that. I don't know. Like, I do think some of these celebrities actually talk about stuff they actually use because we saw Kathy Hilton on this episode of Beverly Hills. She had like the full size bottles of all her skincare. I was like really trying to like zoom in and like see what she was for real using because we know that's actually what she uses because she brought it on the trip. But let's just get into the recap of Beverly Hills. I have to first off the bat say I didn't even know this was the season finale. Just didn't know until I was like watching the show and it said season finale in the corner. And I was like, oh, okay, we're done. We're done with this season, which I should have put 2 and 2 together because they filmed the reunion, which always, you know, happens kind of right before the season's over. But I was like, oh, okay. I feel like all in all, this season was like not that great. Like last season was better because it was kind of the same thing all season, even though in some aspects it was the same thing all season last year too, like Kyle with the Morgan Wade stuff. But it's like all it was Sutton and Dorit saying like they don't like each other, they just don't get each other. And then everyone kind of poking at Kyle like we can't ask you any questions, and that Erika redecorated her house. I know she was definitely getting that at a discount because they probably talk about it almost every episode except this one. But Sutton is being annoying as always. We pick back up with them on the boat. She's being pouty. Everyone else is still having fun though. And Jennifer Tilly said she can see both sides and she's astonished how much the girls just don't like Sutton. So that's why I feel like it's easy for them to be blunt or to maybe hurt her feelings because they don't like Sutton. And I've said this before, that's when I start to not like these shows because it's not Friends. Like the thing about Summerhouse, or really more so Southern Charm right now, those are really friends. So when they get in fights, like when Craig and Austin got in their fight, I was invested in that because there was a lot to lose because they're actually friends. Like Dorit and Sutton would never even probably speak if it wasn't for this show. So when they keep fighting, I'm kind of like, I don't really care if they ever become friends though, because they won't be real life friends. It'll be like, let's just get along so we can both film the show and not be fired. I mean, let's just call it what it is. That's what it would be. But Jennifer Tilly, honestly, I'm astonished she's friends with Sutton because I think she's too cool for school and Sutton is not. I don't know. I just don't really like Sutton. And now that we saw that Garcelle announced she's not coming back, I really wonder where this leaves Sutton. I would assume like on a deserted island all by herself, unless they try to bring on one of her real life friends. But we kind of already did that with Jennifer Tilly because she just doesn't get along with anybody. So for everyone that likes Sutton, and I'm not saying I like want her fired, but like I really feel like she needs to go too if Garcelle's going to quit because she has no friends. We need to just bring people's like friends on, honestly, and then it would be good. I'm sure some people wouldn't agree with me, but like I would rather have Lisa Rinna come back than Sutton. Or like I said before, let's get someone like famous. Like I am watching Denise Richards spinoff. I'm so bad and slacking that I haven't done a bonus episode of a recap of Denise Richards. But all in all, it's not like riveting, like eyes glued to the TV, but it's worth a watch. I mean, she's like funny, and this is more her speed. She wasn't meant to be on The Housewives, but she is meant for reality TV. And her show is fascinating because she has a fascinating family. She's obviously fascinating, like career. She brings on random little friends like Kathy Hilton was just on, Erika was on. She has people that have been in her shows or movies. And then obviously she has her kids and Aaron, and then Charlie Sheen's going to be on the next episode. So it's like she has an interesting life and there's something there, but it just wasn't suitable for Housewives because she just wasn't into that. And you can, when you watch the show, you'll know what I mean. Like she drives like a Ford, like big pickup truck and like a stick shift Corvette. So it's just like she was not vibing with these Housewives ladies. She's like not a housewife, you know? So if you haven't watched Wild Thing, Denise Richards and her Wild Things, give it a watch. It's like short too, or like you can have it on in the background kind of, but it's pretty good. My husband and I are watching it. All in all, it's good. But Jennifer Tilly kind of is thinking that Dorit and Erika planned what they said on the boat beforehand because they were like both saying the same thing to Sutton. I don't think that was planned at all. I think they just both don't like Sutton and they both have the same feelings about Sutton because I wouldn't have to plan my conversation beforehand, and I would probably say the same thing that they said. So Kathy Hilton is also eating Cheetos while getting ready in the bathroom. I thought that was just funny. Like, did she bring the Cheetos with her also? So Sutton literally feels like all these ladies have just pushed her into a corner and picked on her the whole time she's been in the group, aka on the show. She does it to herself, though. I mean, and all of them pick on each other. I will say that. And like I said before, it's easier to pick on someone when you don't even like them. And it's like in the back of all of their brains, they all know they have to have some drama on the show to stay on the show. Because if you're like Miss Nice Girl and just sit there, I don't think you're going to stay. You have to be opinionated and start some drama. So all of them are like, well, I don't even want to be friends with Sutton. So I'll just start drama with her. I mean, I think she's forgetting everything she's ever done or said to everyone else. And I'm not saying the women haven't gone hard on her, but she does equally dish things out and say rude things. Like, I do think the things she said to Dorit were rude. Now, yeah, Dorit was saying like the drinking, but also like everyone has commented on Sutton's drinking, like just to be fair. And Sutton does it to herself a little bit. She does hit that bottle hard. Like I think she drinks every day. I'm not saying she's like wildly blacked out of control every single day, but I do think she drinks a cocktail every day. And like, good for you. But I think the wallet thing, like, oh, my wallet's bigger than yours. I didn't like that at all just because we all know where Sutton gets her money. It's from her ex-husband. So I thought that was a poor choice of words. Like, she could have said something else to hurt Dorit's feelings or to fire back at her. I thought that was a little stupid because it's like, no one cares also. Like, half of those women at that table probably have taken money from men or ex-husbands. So it's like, yeah, they're all in the same boat as you, but they probably wouldn't flaunt it like you are right now. Like you've built some empire. That's just what I think Sutton's like delusional. She's like, oh, I'm so rich. And it's like, first of all, stop telling us you're so rich. But also, like, you're rich because of him. It's kind of like Jennifer Tilly. Like, we know she has money, but she like full blatantly admits, like, oh yeah, I get all my money from The Simpsons. She says it like later in the show. They talk about it. So when I get to that part, I'll say that. But I just feel like she's just like totally having amnesia right now and forgetting everything she's ever said and done too. So it's kind of like a tit for tat. But Kyle pulls her aside to talk to her, and she's doing like the repeating thing like she always does. And she's like, do you think it's true? Do you think it's true? Do you think it's true? So this is later when they like go out, they're having this like shopping event, and Sutton's just like being like a moody little girl, like you can tell. And Kyle's like, I don't understand. When Sutton feels backed into a corner, she does the repeating thing. So then obviously they show all the playbacks. And it's like, name them, name them. And she does. She kind of also plows over your words. Like Kyle is just saying, you know, like, are you okay? But you also realize, like, on the boat, like, you do this to yourself sometimes. And why do you always storm off? And she's like, do you think it's true? Do you think it's true? Do you think? And it's like, you're not even letting her answer because you're asking the same thing 5 times over and over again. But then they all go on the beach-ish and sit down for dinner, and it's Dorit and Erika's birthday. So this is also like annoying. Like Sutton is very like attention, like all attention needs to be on her. If she's not having fun, nobody else is. And I don't like that. Like just sit there or don't even come. I don't know. It's like at this point, no one cares. But Kathy had to excuse herself, and then she came back in another outfit, and she said it's because she tinkled in her shorts. Get this woman her own damn show, honestly. Like, thank God she's around for some like lightheartedness, because if not, it'd be like Sutton being a crybaby and everyone else being mean to her, honestly. But then they have like this fun little game of impersonating each other's voices. So they start doing Sutton, and Erika's doing it funny. But then, of course, Sutton gets offended, and it's like, shut up. We know who could never be on the roast. It could never be Sutton, because she would like cry and run off the stage in like 1 minute. Like they're all having fun. Like Kyle was doing somebody else. And remember when they did that seasons ago? Like they were impersonating Teddy, and Kyle did it like when she walked. But like, fun fact, Kyle kind of walks like that now too. It's probably from hanging out with Morgan Wade too much. But it's like, it's just fun. Or like Jennifer Aiden did it before, and it's just funny. But of course, she's like psycho too. I feel like Sutton like gets those like crazy eyes. Like when she's mad, like they almost turn like black, like cat eyes. And she's like, oh no, we don't talk like that, and not funny. But we like don't care what she thinks because it's Dorit and Erika's birthday. And I think she's the narcissist of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I know we literally use that word about everyone, but Sutton is being one right now. The cake comes out. She wouldn't even eat the cake. And this is just like why Garcelle leaving, Sutton has to leave. Like she can't even sit and eat a piece of cake, and it was probably good. And it's like, if you want to stay on the show, you need to coexist with these people. And if it's so miserable for you, like, please quit. And now that I'm thinking about it, it wouldn't even shock me if, like, since Garcelle quit, now, like, Sutton quits. And she'll probably, like, announce it, like, next week when, like, the reunion airs. Like, so all eyes are on her, and it's not about, like, the reunion, you know? Or, like, maybe she'll see how the public responds to the reunion, and then she'll quit. But I would just be really shocked if she stays without Garcelle, because that's like her only friend, honestly. But every time we're seeing Kathy Hilton doing anything on this trip, she has full-size bottles of everything, the makeup, the face wash. Now she has like supplements she's sitting at the table doing. I mean, how many suitcases did this woman bring? It's kind of insane to me to keep thinking about it. But Bose and Sutton make like homemade chocolate together. And I thought that was nice to get them alone, just because Bose is new too. So I wanted to see what like Sutton would say, because I feel like she tries to like spin it like, oh, poor me, woe is me. And Bose is going to see your side, but then tell it like it is. So I was intrigued to have her say that. She thinks the ladies have weird alliances with each other. So she's just saying, Like, it's okay when Erika and Kyle do mean stuff to each other. They like make up, but like Sutton's nailed to the cross for it. But it's because, I'm telling you, it's because no one cares to be her real friend. And I don't know if she even gets that at this point. But Garcelle, Jennifer, and Kyle talk on the beach, and Garcelle said she thinks Sutton cares when Kyle doesn't stick up for her more than others, meaning herself, Garcelle. And Kyle's like, why is that my responsibility, though, that she's so adamant and like wants to have my approval? And it is kind of creepy. It's like, it is kind of like they're in 5th grade and Sutton feels like the nerdy outcast and like everyone else is at the popular table and she just wants them to like her. But it's kind of like, well, they don't. So maybe you should just leave the show. How did she even get on the show? It was Lisa Rinna? But then like Lisa Rinna didn't even really like Sutton. So I don't think they were friends. But she was the one that initially kind of introduced her. And she was like, she's rich, honey. She's rich. And it's like, honey, she is, but she's boring. We don't really enjoy her company. How long has she been on the show? It's been like 5 years probably, I guess. I don't know. But Jennifer Tilly, this is when she reveals in her divorce, they had $700,000 in their bank account. She got 350 of it. And then Kyle was like, oh, did you get anything else? And she's like, well, I got a piece of The Simpsons. And she's like, I can't buy diamonds on my Chucky money. That's just for like my snacks. So The Simpsons I just saw on TV, like it has like 35 seasons. So when he gave her a piece of it, he definitely never even thought it would amount to what it was. But how fascinating to know back then when they got divorced. That's all they had in their bank account. And she must have really been with him for love. And she said that. She's like, I really loved him and blah, blah, blah. She never like went into super detail why they got divorced. So maybe if she's around next season, still, I would like to know more about her life. Like, honestly, let's make her a main cast member over Sutton. She probably doesn't want to be, and that's the whole point. Like, sometimes these people don't want to commit full time because that's essentially why Garcelle said she's quitting, because she's working on a lot of movie projects and she probably can't film this show and do that. So this show really is for like people that don't have a lot going on, not to be mean, but it's because it has to be flexible. Like, I don't know how Kyle filmed Halloween and did this, honestly. It must have been between seasons, or they really worked around her because she's an OJ. But I feel like that's why Jennifer Tilly probably wouldn't want to be full time. But you never know, waive that dollar amount. Maybe she changed her mind. So she could buy more like exotic things, because I always love seeing her crazy expensive things on the show. But they all dress up really wild that night for dinner, like Vegas showgirl-esque. And everyone's like hiney cheeks are out, I feel like, and the boobs, there's like nipple tassels basically and like gems on everyone. So good things everyone like not eating that full plate of mashed potatoes that Kyle ordered a side of and passed it around a couple episodes ago, because this is why they all look hot in these outfits. But they all sit down at dinner, and immediately lighthearted Erika from all season goes in a little bit, like not mean, but just puts Jennifer and Garcelle on the witness stand, I feel like. And she's like, I heard that either you or you thought Dorit and I planned that attack on Sutton on the boat. And she's like, I'm going to tell you right now. Erika always gets like real lawyer-esque when she says stuff. Like, she's like, I want everyone to listen to me and don't interrupt. Because Sutton was about to interrupt. She's like, I don't want anyone to talk. And then Kathy Hilton was about to talk. She's like, not even you, Kathy Hilton. And she's like, I genuinely did not plan anything with Dorit beforehand. And then Garcelle was like, you saying that right now, I genuinely believe you. And Garcelle said she really wants to get to know the ladies better. And I think at this moment in time, so this is before she quit, I think she's really actually getting sick of being lumped in with Sutton. And she wants to have fun. And instead, I feel like she always feels responsible for Sutton. It's like that friend that feels responsible for the other friend that like drinks too much or something. Like, she always feels like she has to fight Sutton's battles with her because like no one likes Sutton, and Garcelle's being like lumped into that, which I can tell Garcelle seems fun. Like, she's always like down to order the cocktail, like down to kind of like give flirty eyes to the waiter. And everyone always points that out too. Kyle's like, oh, this is Garcelle while the waiter's reading the dinner. Like, oh, I really do think if she wasn't with Sutton, she could be more fun and have more fun with the ladies and make her own decisions about the ladies. Because I bet when her and Sutton are alone, Sutton's like really like, they're just so mean to me, Garcelle. And it's like, whatever, no one cares. Yeah, then they got to do like the updates at the end or like yada, yada, yada. And then it goes 1 month later. And I'm like, oh, what's happening 1 month later? And all it said was Tom is guilty of 4 counts of wire fraud. And Erika's sitting down with Kyle talking about it. And I'm like, okay, yeah, we know. And then she's like, he got sentenced to life in prison. Like, he's 80. He doesn't even have 80 days to live. And I'm like, true. Like, I just saw on the internet, though, the other day that she's set to go to a trial. And I'm like, oh, geez, it's like not over for her either. But all in all, I think the season was okay. I think the reunion is going to be real good. When they showed the preview, it's like Kathy basically outed Kyle as being a lesbian. Like, did anyone catch that? She goes, I had to tell my daughters that, maybe I was interested in women too to make you feel better. Like, first of all, your daughters are grown women with children. Like, I don't think they have many questions if Kyle wanted to like date a younger woman, especially because they live in LA and it's just like people do different things and walk different paths of life out there. But she acted like Paris and Nikki were like 10 and she had to like really explain stuff to them. It's like, no. And Kyle was like, can you just stop talking, please? And I'm like, did Kathy just out Kyle as a lesbian? And I'm like, we need to get her liquored up more and she'll sing like a canary. I know she would. Like, she doesn't do it on purpose either. She's just like dumbfounded. So I'm excited for that part of the reunion. Interesting when like Garcelle will walk off and then Erika and Bose were on Watch What Happens Live that night with Andy. And he was like, yeah, so we heard Garcelle quit. And then Erika's like, we knew she quit 2 weeks ago before the reunion. And he's like, no, I didn't. And Erika was like, oh, please. And then he was like, do you guys have thoughts on it? They were both dead silent. And then Erika's like, well, she didn't even take the cast photo with us. I wonder if something happened. I mean, Garcelle can't be that upset to leave if like nothing happened. So the reunion should be pretty good. Sometimes even if the season is like just okay, the reunion's real good. And I mean, the beginning I think was more exciting because we got like PK and Dorit and Kyle about like the texting scandal with PK. But the last couple episodes, I'm like, all right, we get it. Dorit and Sutton don't like each other. They're never going to like each other. So I'm like, we don't need to go into it more. But let's take a little break here and then we're going to recap Summerhouse. To all my listeners out there, it's not just the Bravo celebrities that want to look beautiful. We do too. Head on over to Studio One Salon for the most amazing extensions, cut, color, or even just a nice shampoo and blowout. Or when you go out with all your friends to talk about all the latest Bravo tea. Use my code BRAVOT with a stay-at-home mom to enjoy 10% off. And we're back and we're picking it up back at Summerhouse. Everyone's sweating in their pirate gear. This was an A+ theme, but everyone's eyeliner is looking like scary, but it's also giving real pirate-esque. Like they would be hot, sweaty, and their eyeliner wouldn't be perfect. So I'm also liking it. And everyone's drunk, just like real pirates would be. Craig and Paige are still in the boat. And then in walks Kyle. And he's like, Paige, would you like to trade places? And Paige is just feeling so bothered by Craig not feeling checked in on enough. And I feel like she left the conversation being annoyed, but she's also like, yes, please get this conversation get to going so I can like breathe from the anxiety you both have been giving me from this damn Spritz versus Loverboy thing. So Kyle sits down and then Craig immediately gets up and he's like, I'm not leaving you. I just want to get a refill. He goes inside and like checks his email, like gets a bag of chips. He's definitely taking long. And I feel like that was on purpose. And Kyle's like, where is this guy? Like, it's a dick measuring contest, pardon my French, at this point, because Craig's like very stubborn, you could tell. He's like a Teresa Giudice stubborn. Like, I'm not wrong, and now I need to prove to Kyle that he needs to wait for me to want to have the conversation. I think it's because Kyle keeps starting and approaching the conversation, and Craig wants to start and approach the conversation. So he's like, let me make him wait. But then we see Carl and Lil, his new love, in the corner, and she's telling him she wants to go to magic school. She's a little bizarre, just a little bit. And then later, he like walked her out, and we just heard audio. We didn't see anything, but like her parents picked her up. And he's like, oh, hey. And then he like was like making weird pirate sounds or something. And it's like, maybe they're meant to be. They're both being strange. And I find it strange. She's a full blown adult and her parents were picking her up from this party. Very weird. But Craig finally decides to come back from eating chips and checking his emails to Kyle in the stranded boat and have their conversation. And it's just like, at this point, agree to disagree. Kyle is mainly trying to tell Craig it's the way you went about it. Because I do think if all of these people had opportunities, they would take them. So I don't even know if Kyle necessarily is as mad that he did something with a competing drink company. It's how he went about it. But I do think deep down inside, he's still like mad he even did something with a competing drink company, to be honest. But maybe this like opens the door for Kyle to do something with a pillow company. I mean, have at it, Kyle. If Craig is basically saying, I don't think anything is wrong with anything, I do think he would find something wrong with Kyle doing this with the pillows. But then it showed a clip from like earlier, and Craig was talking to Jesse and West by themselves. And he said that he's so mad at Kyle that he pulled Loverboy from all his stores. And I'm like, wait, you sell Loverboy at your Sewing Down South store? Like, I'm kind of confused. Or maybe he like gives them out to customers while they're shopping. I don't know, but Craigie kaput on Loverboy. So I was like, damn. I mean, no love loss because the whole Summerhouse cast does not even talk to Craig right now and is totally Team Paige and like doesn't like him at all. So I will say, obviously, Southern Charm is going to pick Craig and Summerhouse is going to pick Paige. That's just like how it is. But the Summerhouse people are going a little hard on Craigie. But Ciera and Jesse talk, and he wants to know what Wes can do for them to all be friends again. And she's like, basically nothing. But then, since Jesse's all hopped up on Hampton water, aka Rosé, Ciera and him are having like some flirtation because Lexi is not there. And everyone is kind of excited about it because Ciera, they flash back to last season. Oh, would you like hook up with Jesse or West when like everyone was new? And Ciera said, Jesse. So maybe if West would have never slipped in there, it would be a whole new story. But I think Jesse is feeling like he's feeling very pissed at himself. I think that he's like committed to Lexi because he can't flirt with any of the girls at this party. He can't flirt with Ciera, even though she's kind of like, oh, I mean, like, yeah. Like, I don't know if she'd touch a Bravo man with a 10-foot pole at this point, but I don't know, maybe if there was no Lexi. But I don't think Lexi's going to like watching anything that happened on this episode at all, especially because what we'll get into later. But Paige and Ciera then go have their own little conversation inside. And Paige is just expressing all the feels to Ciera. So I have a clip of it. So instead of me like rehashing it, trying to remember everything, I'm just going to play it.
We never even talked about it. Now you're going on tour. Like, am I gonna be like? I just want to make sure our relationship is still like a priority. Basically, like, what about me? Yeah, like, what was me? Then I had to talk to her man, and then she was like, "You gotta just like not support it." And I go, well, I feel like he like gets like his feelings hurt if it's like if I'm showing him. I know. I'm not gonna tell you again. Okay. And when we got home, he was like, well, obviously on camera, I'm not going to say you're way busier than me and your shit is bigger. I go, why? He goes, that would be negative. I go, for you? I go, why couldn't you have said that? Like, that is what's happening. That is not a thing as much. Where's my girlfriend? That in itself, Paige. Yeah, I'm living the secret of my dating secret. Hater. That is a fucking hater-ass boyfriend. Paige shouldn't have to pay for your lack of self-confidence and your lack of self-esteem. Honestly, this is all him. And I've had this conversation multiple times with Paige. Somehow, some way, it does end up becoming the Craig show. Like, so that made me feel so weird. I'm sorry, but if your mother heard that, like, really?
All right, so basically, we're finding out Craig is not being supportive. But then when I recap Southern Charm, I'll have things to say about that because it's just like I'm at this point so confused. They really have two different versions of everything, so I feel like somewhere in the middle lies the truth. And I don't know. I'm not saying I 100% don't believe Paige, but I'm not so sure about, I don't know. I feel like Paige led Craig on, but I do feel like Craig expressing concern about how they're been together for 3 years. They don't even live in the same state, let alone together, let alone engaged. I think he's just like worried about that. And then she's fully translating it into you're not supporting what I'm about to do. Now then, apparently he like sends her a documentary to watch about like when you go on tour, it ruins your family. And she was like already on tour. So that's not very nice. So I'm not saying that he was not like supportive. Like I don't like that part. That is definitely not being supportive. But checking in on your relationship is not like not supporting what the other person does. Does that make sense to everyone? Like I feel like I'm in a gray area. I think Paige is young. She's from New York. She doesn't mind if she has to get married at 40. But Craig is older than her, and he doesn't want to be getting married that late. Like if it was up to him, he would already have a child. And there's nothing wrong with that. From the get-go, you need to establish these things with people. Like dead set. And I'm not saying things can't change, but it's just like Paige should have been like, in no way, shape, or form in the next 5 years do I see myself, like when they started dating, so 3 years ago, do I see myself getting married and having kids? Then Craig probably would have been like, well, bye-bye. I'll find someone down in the South. Which rumor has it, from Watch What Happens Live last night, he's got a new girl. So we'll wait around to see who it is. There was a Dumont tip, and apparently she was in the audience last night. So maybe that is true. Maybe it is not. We don't know. But Ciera is telling Paige, I've already had this conversation with you, and Amanda is like hearing it too. So they are probably not liking Craig. This is also what happens too. When you start telling your friends all this stuff and they start forming an opinion about the guy, if you want to be with him forever, you might as well keep the negativity to yourself to a point. I know we all vent to our friends, but like when it's like real bad and you want to like make the guy seem real bad to your friend, they're going to be like, well, then it's a no for me forever. But everyone's just like really drunk at the end of this party. But Craig is complaining kind of to Paige that like they never see each other, but yet he goes out with Jesse, West, Emerald. I don't think Kyle went out, did he? I don't remember. Maybe. That was so weird to me. I couldn't believe Craig went out because like also he doesn't really drink, I feel like. And then he's just like always like, check in, we don't spend any time together. So it's like, okay, well, that could have been time you spent together. But then when they return, Emerald brings not one, but two girls back, covers the camera up again with the towel. Jesse goes in the room and was in there for 37 minutes. That's like a really long time. And he said he was just laying there at the opposite end. So like his feet were up by, I guess, everyone's like face. It's like, ew. And then one of the girls sucked his toe. Oh, God. He said his feet, he was walking around all day barefoot. First of all, ew and dangerous at these parties. Like, what if someone broke glass and there's just so many people and it's just like, I don't know, being on your bare feet all day, also like not comfortable. Like, no. And then he said they went out like in the Hamptons. Ew. So also like you shoved a dirty foot in an open shoe and or put socks. It's just like, ew. Ew, I can't believe you didn't shower before you went out either. Gross. And then like they return home and his sweaty, nasty foot from all day goes in someone's mouth. Ew, no. Ew, and like Jesse has ugly feet. Like men kind of have ugly feet anyway, but like his are like so ugly. Just bleh. I'm getting like annoyed with all these girls coming back home though. It's like turned into a brothel, and I'm happy that Ciera is later going to say that to Emerald. We got the mid-season trailer, and she's like, is this like how you behave at home? Because it's just like gross. It is gross. And it's like none of these girls are signing NDAs. So like we're not even seeing what they look like. Are they like embarrassed? Are they like hookers? I don't know. I mean, there's probably some high-end escorts in the Hamptons, but like it is gross. Like, does this guy like have STDs? It's like TMI, but like that's not right. Ew, and it's just gross. But Lexi is not going to like this toe sucking. So if she was like uncomfortable with him like flirting or not even, he wasn't even flirting with Ciera. So he was flirting with Ciera this episode when she's not there. But like him just like writing under all their pictures, if she's mad about that, oh, forget it. He technically was involved in a threesome, got his toe sucked. I mean, I think he's just really regretting being like locked into her. Cause it's like at the party, even I feel like he was like to Craig, he's like, when do you know when you found a girl and you want to stop looking? But then Craig gave a weird like analogy. He was like, it's when the girl you're with, imagine like you would cheat on your girlfriend with her. And I'm like, what the frick are you talking about? Like the girl is your girlfriend. I was like, what? I guess he was just saying like it's a girl that you just can't resist so much. Like even if you were with someone else, you would like cheat on that current person with this girl. And it's like, oh, real nice to word it like that, Craig. But Jesse's probably thinking like, oh, okay, so like Lexi's my girlfriend and I would cheat on her with Ciera or this toe sucking person. But that pretty much was like the episode. And then like Lindsay like wasn't there. She FaceTimes her aunt in the apartment. I still can't believe she like lives in that apartment. So she was like saging it to, I guess, get rid of the bad juju, like basically her getting dumped of her engagement in that apartment. She said that she thought about leaving, but it's just like, it's such a good apartment. And like, if she can afford that apartment, it is a good apartment. Like she has a nice outside, like little deck, which is like probably just so rare in New York, unless you're like a millionaire. But for $12,000 a month, I better have an outside deck. And the kitchen has like nice appliances and whatnot, but it is crazy just to think that she lives in that apartment that Carl dumped her in and that they were screaming and having fights in. And now there's going to be screaming coming from that apartment. It's just from a baby instead. So when we got the mid-season trailer, also we see Paige, like we already know at the end of the season, she talks to Lindsay and Amanda when cameras go back up. But she said, yeah, he said, well, why don't you just wait to see the ring first? And Paige was like, that's why we're breaking up, because I don't know if you're lying right now. And I'm like, wait, lying about what? He did get a ring. So I'm intrigued to see the rest, but I think watching Summerhouse is definitely an intense look in of why Paige broke up with Craig. I just can't wrap my brain around why it took her so long, because this was filmed at like the end of July. She broke up with him like 2 weeks after Thanksgiving. Well, why did it take you that long if you're already feeling like this? She should have rid Craig of all of this like right before she went on the tour. Or maybe she wanted to like see how he would be once she was on tour, but That probably gave her a headache if he was like sending her documentaries on like, don't ruin our family we hypothetically don't have on tour. But let's take one more break and then we'll recap Southern Charm. Need a last minute gift? Look no further than Acred Creative. Discover personalized gifts, distinctive decor, and must have business essentials. Elevate your space or amplify your brand with their unique creations. Go to acredcreative.com and use my code BRAVOT10 to receive 10% off your order. That's ACRED creative.com and use my code BRAVOT10. And we're back to wrap it up with the recap from Southern Charm, part 1 of the reunion. And then we're going to do a little Bravo tea at the very end. But everyone's like arriving at the studio. JT said him and Benita dated for a month after filming. I'm so confused, and I can't wait until part 2 when they get more into the JT and Benita stuff, because Benita finds out when she had him over the house for that like Bronzino dinner, which they played out of order, by the way. So that was after the trip. Production did her dirty and made it look like JT dropped that bomb saying, I'm seeing someone. And then they go on the trip and she like sneaks in his room. She said that dinner was after the trip, but nonetheless, they have that dinner while they're filming. He says he's seeing someone. And then they stop filming and you date for a month? I'm so lost. And then he posts on Instagram a picture of his like girlfriend that he says he's dating. And he said, time to post this, or I don't remember what it said, or long overdue. And then Benita blocked him and like didn't talk to him. But it's like, he basically told you he had a girlfriend. So why did you date him? I'm so lost by all that. So I just can't wait for clarification, like I said. But then everyone comes out. No one wants to sit next to JT. And Sally's like, oh, I have to sit next to JT. Madison is pregnant. No one knew. That's odd too, because I can see if she wanted it to be a surprise, but she's 4 months pregnant. So it's like, do you never see these people? Like Craig said, oh, that's why you weren't drinking at, I think he meant like him and Austin's bar opening. And she's like, yeah, like I told y'all I was doing dry January, but I was really pregnant. So like you could hide it at the very beginning and wear like baggy sweaters. Winter, I feel like, is easy to get away with it. But she looks so big right now that she must have not seen anyone for a long time. Maybe she like lied and said she was sick. I don't know. But then right off the bat, we start talking about Craigie and Paige. Now, I am very lost, very confused. What's going on at this point? Like Craig talks and then I feel bad for him. But then Paige talks and I'm like, oh yeah, Craig is like lying, or he's not taking Paige seriously and he's taking everything literally instead of her sarcasm and whatnot. Because mainly my main concern was I did feel bad for Craig when he said, so he was on Watch What Happens Live. He had to lie and pretend like him and Paige were still together because she broke up with him 2 weeks after Thanksgiving. Then he was on Watch What Happens Live, like right when Southern Charm premiered. So not only do I feel like Craig just didn't want to announce the breakup because he didn't want it to be like real, but I think it's because he just didn't want to deal with it while he was doing press for Southern Charm, because I wouldn't either. So then Paige is finally like I got to tell everyone. And then he said when he did that Watch What Happens Live, when he's like lying to Andy, saying, oh yeah, like we're still together, blah, 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 blah. Well, he didn't say we're still together. He was just acting like everything's normal. He said he went to her apartment and he was like, what's going on? And all I was thinking of is Craig showing up to her apartment like sad and crying and her being like, oh my God, why are you here? I broke up with you like a month ago. And he said that she said, I'm probably making the biggest mistake of my life, but I really need to find myself. Now, if she really did say I need to find myself, that is a little dramatic and selfish, because I'm going to tell you right now, my opinion. She has already found herself. It's more like I am where I've always wanted to be and you need to just be happy for me. if she was like really feeling that, because that's what she expressed on Summerhouse. But like saying I need to find myself means like you have no purpose. Like you don't have a job, or you don't even know what you want to do with your career or life and stuff like that. That's usually why people break up with people. They're like, I need to figure out what I even want out of life and like a career and stuff. It's like, I think she has everything figured out and has gotten everything she's wanted. So I don't really know why she said that. Like she should have, if this is all true, that's what I mean. It's really hard because Craig does have a history of lying. But I would hope he's not lying about every single thing she's saying, because she would just deny it. But then the part that really got me, like I feel like Paige did say this next part, but I feel like it was obviously a joke and Craig just didn't even comprehend that. So he said to her, well, what should I do with your ring? And she's like, well, save it. Maybe we'll get married at BravoCon. Now, Craig, do you really think this girl would want to have a wedding in Las Vegas on like a stage with none of her family? No. And BravoCon, that's like a year from now. Well, it's like, no. That was obvious sarcasm, but then everyone's like, oh my God, that's terrible, mixed signals. But then Andy was like, wheels were turning in his head, and he's like, oh, it's like not a bad idea. So I'm waiting for someone to get married at BravoCon now. It's not going to be Craig and Paige, but I'm waiting for somebody. And then Andy pointed out, you were with Austin while she broke up with you, or like 2 days later, you were with Austin doing some pillows and beer thing. Like you didn't want to tell him. And he's like, no, honestly, like I just don't trust him yet. Like trust him with what? A secret? Craig is like a secret housewife. I feel like he's the gossiper, like blabbermouth, twisting all the stories, drama. I think if he told Austin that, like, this just happened, I'm processing it, I don't even know if this is like gonna stay because I need to like talk to Paige, like, or see her in person again. And I don't want to talk about it right now while we're doing like Southern Charm Press. I don't think Austin would have said something. So I think he's thinking very low of Austin to think that if he told him that, he would like call the newspaper and post it in the New York Times. Like, I don't know. Very wild. But the one thing I do have to say is a little bit, I do think Paige is going to regret in a sense, or not regret. I think she's in denial, like the man she'll find after Craig. Like if she gets like a hustling New York man, they're not going to be supportive of your career at all. So if she thinks Craig isn't supportive, I don't know why she thinks men in New York would be. I mean, like, I feel like a lot of New York younger people are very selfish. So he was willing to move to New York for her. He already bought the ring. I don't know. I have mixed feelings. I'm very like black and white. I go back and forth because, like I said, he is his version. She is his version. Or he is his version. She has her version. And then somewhere in the middle lies the truth. So I don't know. But then he said that she was like, I wish you fought for me. And he's like, well, I don't think you would have to fight for someone that loves you, which I do agree with. And she's like, okay, good. So we both made the right decision. And he's like, we didn't make any decision. I do think she's trying to like equally be like, oh, you wanted this too. It's like, but no, he didn't. He did return the ring. He said on Watch What Happens Live. So thank God he got his money back, because he said he had a custom made. So like my husband's like, oh, he definitely lost all his money though. Like they'll obviously buy any jewelry back from you, but it's not going to be at what you paid for. So I feel bad. And he's obviously not going to save it for the next woman that comes into his life, because that's weird. Like I wouldn't want some other girl's ring that it was intended for her, and that may not even be that girl's style. Odd. But Andy asked Craig, like, did you ask Paige if she broke up with you for this guy that's rumored to be like her boyfriend? And Craig's like, yeah, like obviously I said, you know, is there somebody else? And she said no. Honestly, at this point, I don't think that's her boyfriend, because I think she would just come out and say it, because Craig is even saying, this is not the girl that I used to date, like the way she's acting right now. And I could see that. Like she's very much being a hater of Craig. Like she said on her podcast, the next guy I date is going to be like so masculine. And I'm like, that's like a direct dig at Craig that he's not masculine. But like I said, get someone that's more masculine than Craig. He's definitely not going to want you to like be running around the world. He's not, because he's going to be like more old school. Like Joe Gorga used to think like, no, you stay at home and cook, clean, watch the kids, all work. Like if she wants someone way more masculine, that's perhaps what she's going to get. So I don't know what Paige wants. She just wants to be alone at this point, I think, which is fine. And she should just say that. I just didn't like that there's having this tit for tat. And obviously the whole Summerhouse gang is being a little harsh with Craigie. But Madison and JT then get into the alleged affair phone call. That's all like kind of goofy. I mean, I don't think that JT thinks Madison wanted to have like an affair with him. I think he just thought it was strange. Brett was like, oh, like what happened that night because Madison didn't call me. It's like, well, I don't know. Like Madison said she was drunk. Like maybe she just didn't want to call you that night. And obviously she probably talked to him throughout the day. So it's like, I don't think you have to be like panicked that she didn't call you. But I agree with Madison. She said if he was jealous, he would not let me film a show with my ex, meaning Austin, and he would not let me go on like overnight trips with like all these guys, which is true. I don't think Brett is jealous of any of these men. And I don't think Madison wants to leave Brett for any of these men. But JT is just not in a good position with this whole entire group, which leads me to think he won't come back. So I just saw like a clip of Olivia Flowers and they were like, yeah, how did you think like when JT said he wasn't going to show up to the reunion? And Olivia's like, I was thinking, yeah, that's not up to you. Like you'll have to show up. Like nice try. Which I agree. You have to show up to the reunion. The only person that like never did was like Lisa Vanderpump, honestly. Everyone always shows up to the reunion because you have to. You're obligated in your contract to. I don't think you even get paid for the whole season if you don't. Lisa Vanderpump was probably like, I'm rich enough. I don't need it, Andy. I'm not coming with these bitches. So JT was probably like, no, I could use the like money that they're throwing my way. I mean, all of them could. They're young and no hate. Like I would show up too because get it all out there. And then if you don't want to come back next year, don't come back, which I highly doubt he's going to come back. And Leva's not coming back, but it's like literally no one cares. She keeps interrupting when Craig is like talking. And he's like, these are the most words you've said all season. And he's just spitting facts because I agree. And it's like no love lost there. And to be mean for a minute, Leva looked awful at the reunion. So I'm going to say right now, when you pick your reunion look, yes, you need to look good standing up for like your still shots and whatnot, like your thirst traps that you're going to post. But you need to look good more so sitting down because we watch you on TV sitting down. Her dress did nothing for her while sitting. It like shoved her boobs up, but in an unflattering way. And then her hair looked so awful. Like her look was just not giving at all for her. I think all in all, everyone looked good, but that was like, no, ma'am. Then they talk a little bit about Ciera and Shep and how much of like a shit show that was. I mean, I was like hoping they'd go in a little harder. I mean, they did, but like, I don't know. I was wishing Annie was just going to be like, why did you ever think she liked you? Why'd you put yourself through that misery on camera? So they do compare this old clip where he said to Whitney, oh, I'm not going to be in like my 40s, like trying to get with like girls in their 20s. And then Andy's like, you're in your 40s and Ciera is 26. And I'm like, yep, you are what you said you didn't want to be. And he's like, yeah, I probably said a lot of things that I regret. And then they kind of go in on the beginning when he said Ciera had a lot more going on than Taylor. I thought that was really rude because also it's like, excuse me, what does Ciera have going on? We didn't even like really meet her or know her. And she could have been lying about anything because I feel like Shep didn't even like know her. But then he did talk about when they were on that boat together, which we didn't see this. He's just telling us this. Oh, like you should buy me that house over there. Or I wish you could buy that house over there. And it's like $11 million house. And maybe she was trying to get with Shep just for the money because clearly she didn't want to be on TV because it was a struggle for her to film in the Bahamas. But then it's like, well, if you wanted to be with him for money, then why did you like not put up with him more? I don't know. Her even like dealing with him in general was strange because I don't think she did it to be on TV. And I don't know. I don't know what's going through him and Craig's head. It's like these women are like blatantly not showing them affection. And they're like, oh, what's going on? I mean, at least Craig was in a 3-year relationship with Paige. So I can understand if he'd like to turn a blind eye a little. But Shep, it's like, what was she doing or saying to ever make you think that that's what she wanted? I mean, so at the end, we get them kind of starting to go in about the Vanita and JT thing. And she gets up from her seat. She goes to get her phone for receipts. And then it was funny. Molly was like, receipts, proof, timeline, everything. And it's like, yeah, she getting everything. So we're going to see that on the next part. I can't wait because I was interested to see the things Craig would say about the Paige and him breakup. But I really was like waiting for this JT and Benita thing because like I needed a timeline of the dating and I need Andy to go in on that more because like I said at the very beginning, what do you mean you found out he had a girlfriend and then you like dated him? And then you saw him post the picture of the girlfriend that he already said he had and then you got mad? Strange. So strange. But then we had all the guys on Watch What Happens Live after. We had Shep, Austin, Craig. And Craig was trying to talk more about him and Paige, but he was being like so like not direct. It was like very confusing. But he said he is dating and then he's like, and not Sally, because they were like spotted out somewhere and people like thought they were like dating, but like I knew they weren't dating. But he said he's dating one person and we all have now come out to find who that person is. Her name is Natalie Buffett. I guess that's how you say her last name. So she used to date Dak Prescott of the Eagles for about 2 years. She's an influencer. But I was just talking to a friend today and I was like, oh my God, can you believe Craigie has a girlfriend? And allegedly she was in the audience of Watch What Happens Live. My friend said she thinks she lives in New York too. Oh my God, Craig, hello. Please find a girl in Charleston. And I'm sure there are so many girls in Charleston and so many that are more, I may get a little hate for saying this, but more like what Craig is looking for, like more backseat to his career, which is like fine because we all are allowed to have our opinions and our tastes. And that's why when you go in the ice cream store, there's a bunch of flavors because we all don't like the same thing. I think he wants more like a wife, mom, like maybe she'll have her own thing, but also like she'll have plenty of time to have a family. Unlike Paige, like right now, like she doesn't even have time, I feel like, to like buy a new toothbrush. Girl is very busy. So is this girl going to be that? Because if not, Craig should not date anyone until it's someone like that. And certainly do not date anyone other than someone that lives in your state. Very goofy. Maybe this girl would be like willing to move to Charleston though. I have no idea. But I wish them well. Hope it's going to go great for them. But I was glad to see that he's like dating. And now I wonder if Paige will start dating someone. It would be interesting. So on the after show for Summerhouse, she was like, yeah, Jesse Solomon like DM me and said like I'm beautiful. And I'm like, oh my God, please let them both be single for this year for Summerhouse, like in the next couple months. I would love that. Literally would love to see that. It would be very fascinating to see her. I'm ready for a single Paige for a summer because I feel like she gets boring. And sometimes I'm like, is it because she has Craig? I'm ready for her to turn up and like flirt with some men and like maybe make out with them. Maybe. But that's it really for now for the reunion for Southern Charm. I'm excited for the second part, like I said, get more into it. But let's get into this Teresa Giudice tax lien. Can we all even believe that this woman is in this damn position all over again? I can't. So she's potentially facing $3 million in tax liens. So she has about $300,000 or like over $300,000 the state of New Jersey put out a tax lien against her. So that's back still from like her and Juicy Joe. So it's like, okay, whatever. Like I probably was assuming you like still have debt to pay from you and Joe because he left and she paid it all on her own while still maintaining a life. Now, yes, we can say what type of life. You don't need Gucci. You don't need to live in a mansion. But she does have the daughters. Joe contributes nothing. So it's like she's got to pay for shit and pay off the tax liens in probably like time. But scumbag Louie has $2.7 million worth of tax liens. And guess what that means for Teresa? They're her tax liens too because she didn't sign a prenup. So that's where we're getting the $3 million from. That now they're both just like up the creek without a paddle, without a life vest, without even the boat at this point. They're putting their house on the market because just that house alone, I can't even fathom the bills and the taxes. I don't know what she's going to do. I wonder if she's going to go to jail again because also it's kind of like, all right, you did the time for the crime the first time around, but then if you do the crime again, girl, like you probably definitely just go straight back to jail again. This is all alleged though. Don't come at me saying like, she's not going to jail. I mean, wild. I'm wondering what Joe and Melissa Gorg are thinking, like reading this stuff. I read something online, but I don't know if it was like really Melissa saying this. It said apparently she commented on it and was like, oh, well, I guess like they got to sell the mansion. And then she's like, well, hopefully they'll pay off all their tax liens. And then at the end of it, they'll have a little money to go on vacation to relax because they'll deserve it. So obviously she was totally being sarcastic, just like when Paige said she was going to get married at BravoCon. Sarcasm. I don't know if she really said that, but it'd be kind of funny if she did. But I mean, what do the daughters think? What do the four girls think? Two are in college. Adriana's still in high school. Gia at least is like thriving on her own. So she's like fine. She could move out with the boyfriend. She's got a show coming out. I'm definitely interested for that. The like Kids of Bravo thing she's doing. She just started a podcast. She's doing the influencing thing. So she's fine. She'd pay those own bills. And she does. She said that. But like the other two are in college. And it's like, what I don't get why Teresa didn't do the prenup, because Andy Cohen even was like, please do that. And other people were like, oh my God, don't be dumb. Bethany Frankel's going on a rant right now. You have kids. This is a later in life marriage, and he has kids too. Maybe both of you do a prenup. Sign it for like both of you. I don't care. You have to protect your kids, who you should care about a little more than this guy you just met. Like if you're a husband of that long, Joe Giudice, and your families knew each other their whole life, could screw you like he did, somebody else will too. It's just a precaution. I don't know how people feel about prenups. Personally, I wouldn't be offended. I would be more offended if I asked someone to sign it and they didn't, because then I'd be like, well, why? Do you just want me for my money or you want to steal all my money? I mean, you have to read the prenup and make sure it mutually benefits you. Like you can't say, oh, if we get divorced 20 years from now, you're going to be living on the street with $0 and I'm going to take our children. Like, no. Obviously, if you're married for a lengthy period of time, you will get something per month. Kids will be taken care of. Like, you just have stuff worded like, But for Teresa's sake, she's older. Louie's older. They both have older kids. You basically say, my money is my money and your money is your money. I have to pay for my kids. Like, just sign that. Or like your stuff is like your stuff. And then maybe if you want to do an LLC or something together, or a bank account together, then so be it. Or buy that house together. But apparently Louie bought that house by himself. I don't know. It's all crazy. I would die if the woman went back to jail. Just die for the same thing, basically. And I'm really wondering at this juncture what Juicy Joe is thinking of all of this. Like, is he mad at Louie? Is he concerned for the daughters? Are the daughters mad at Louie? Are they mad at their mom? And what's she going to do for money? Because her podcast is a little rough to listen to be honest. On pause still for Real Housewives of New Jersey. And I'm going to tell you right now, if they had ideas to give her the spinoff, probably scratch that now with all these tax liens. So it's like he's just ruining every opportunity for her to, like, I don't know. She released her podcast like a couple days ago, like after all this stuff has been happening. So like, I don't know. But you know what? Jennifer Aiden had rumors like a week or two ago that like her and Bill's house was like they have to sell it because they have no money or they're declaring bankruptcy. She posted right away, fake news, this is false. Teresa hasn't said one word about all this. So that's why I know it's not fake news and it's not false. There's also, I found the screenshot and posted on my TikTok of like her tax lien with her name on it. Like, I don't think the state of New Jersey is going to like make up fake tax liens. So this is all very real. Just don't know what's going to happen. Louie asked because his one payment for $1 million lien was coming up. So he asked for an extension. But then on top of asking for the extension, he asked for a $250,000 loan. Who kept loaning this man money is more what I'm confused about. Like, you both have all these unpaid taxes, but yet they're going on these vacations. They're buying this house. I'm like, what? Like, if you don't pay your bill, your water gets shut off. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like, if you're not paying your taxes, why are you allowed to live in your house? And then it said Teresa and Joe just hadn't paid, well, more Joe, hadn't paid their taxes in like years and years and years and years. And it's like, why did it take you that long to figure it out? Not her, meaning like the state of New Jersey or the IRS. It's quite crazy, all this stuff. We're getting The Valley coming out soon. We saw the preview. It looks so good when Brittany's like, you need to go get help, Jax. I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be a real nail biter. It's like the worse these people's lives are, the more exciting TV it is. And I feel bad, but it's like, it's going to be so good. It's going to be so good. And then what else has happened? It's really the Teresa stuff that's blowing my mind. I feel like that's about it for like the Bravo T. And then that's it for all our recaps. Hope everyone is enjoying their weekend. It was like so nice this weekend for us in Delaware, finally, thank God. My cold is still, it's hanging on by a thread. I'm hoping like next week I'll be all better. I feel like I will. I've had like days of like the runny nose and it's getting better today. But as always, you can find me on everywhere, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Been slacking a little bit because I feel like we've been busy with the girls. My daughter had a competition on Saturday and competition season's coming to a halt soon. We have, in 2 weeks, we have like our last one and then that's it. But they did so good today. They got platinum first place and they were regional champions. So I'm just so happy for her because it's her first year. A lot of them, it's their first year. So it's like nice to, you know, win big when you're that young because it's just so exciting. But I hope everyone enjoys the rest of their weekend, and spring is here, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get excited about that.